All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Derailed Conversations here on the Ray Ron After Dark. Another week has gone by, and I am excited to talk about a few things that we got coming up. Sorry for the lack of videos on the channel. I have been wanting to get this package in that I just ordered. I want to upgrade my mic system, and half of it arrived. I got a Focusrite 2S2, I think is what they call it. It's a audio interface that you can use condensers and dynamic microphones. And I've had this Audio Technica 2020 for a while now, and I've been wanting to use it, but I was using a Behringer mixer, but that never really panned out. That mixer was really complicated to try to get set up correctly, and then there was always a weird humming sound that had to deal with, but kind of switched out so that way I don't have that humming sound anymore. So definitely it's a half an upgrade right now. I am waiting for my more high-tech mic to come in. It is a EV Electro Voice RE20 microphone that I got because I just love the sound of it, and did several hours worth of research, as I noted on Twitter. Did over 24 hours worth of research just from not at the same time, obviously, but just looking at reviews, looking at features, and hang on, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. My cat was having some issues. But as I was saying, I was doing 24 hours worth of research just from looking at articles on a couple of websites to a lot of YouTube videos, just trying to gauge exactly the sound quality that I want. And as I continued to do some research, it was pretty clear there was two microphones that just sounded good, and they were both dynamic microphones. As I was looking into some research between cardio and dynamic, it was clear to me that the dynamic just had a nice, deeper, bass-driven, radio quality type of audio, especially with my voice. I like my voice being nice and deep, and with that bass being kicked up high. And it was a Shure mic and the EV mic that were kind of the big ones that I really wanted. And so I finally settled on the Electro Voice RE20. So originally, Amazon said it was supposed to be delivered yesterday so I can test it out. And I was going to have it ready for you guys. And I was all excited to have this brand new mic. And it was going to be the mic that I'm going to settle on. And I was super excited. And it was supposed to be delivered yesterday. Well, it was supposed to be delivered by 10 p.m. yesterday. That never happened. The time came and went, and there was still no package on my doorstep. I was a sad panda. And I was like, darn it, I waited, and now it looks like it's been delayed. So I don't know when I'm going to get that mic in. I'm hoping that I can get it in sometime this week. I'm hoping by tomorrow so I can make some videos with it. But right now I got, like I said, I had the new interface, the audio interface, so now I can at least use my Audio Technica 2020 mic, which is what I'm using now. It's kind of the entry-level XLR mic if you want this style, if it sounds good. But I'm excited that I'm able to finally being able to use this mic. But after using the comparisons between the Shure mic, the Audio Technica 2020, and the EV RE20, it was clear to me that I like the RE20 a lot. So that's why I ordered it. And I'm hoping now be the last time I ever have to deal with a microphone, because when I was initially wanting to upgrade this Audio Technica 2020, there was a Rode Podcaster mic that I was looking at ordering. But, it occurred to me that if I wanted to really invest for the future, and considering that this channel heavily relies on my voice, and I know speeching aside, because I'm terrible when it comes to talking. and grammar and all that stuff. But when it comes to just the audio quality, I really want to have a clear, deep voice when it comes to my voice. And that's why I invested in the RE20, and I'm excited for it. And between the RE20 and the Rode Podcaster mic, it was clear to me that I needed to invest a little bit more into that. Give me one more second here. But yeah, I'm definitely excited. It's definitely gonna be the mic that going to invest a lot with. And then the next thing I need to buy is a proper boom stand. Because right now I just have this it's connected to a stand. It doesn't like adjust that great. It's like a cheapo $10, the typical stands that you would see like at a band concert and so forth. It's good because I can move it like away from my desk, but if I actually need it at my desk, it's kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. So I want to get a boom arm is what I really want to grab. But I cannot wait to get that mic in. I am definitely excited for it. But yeah, this week has been interesting. Yesterday I tweeted that I got a couple of new manga books that I'm going to be start reading. And I was able to find One Punch Man Volume 1. I was not expected to see that because that's one of the staples of the manga industry. And when I saw that, it's like, okay, let's get into One Punch Man. I also special ordered Food Wars because I heard a lot of good things about Food Wars. It really makes you hungry, and I can't wait to dive into those books and give you guys a review on this channel. Some of the books I got, The Rising of the Sword Hero, I got 3 more installments of those because I do like where that manga is going. I have seen a couple episodes of the anime version, so I know it's going to be one that I'm going to be heavily invested in. I'm currently reading Volume 1 of Fairy Tail right now. And I'm going to be working on either One Punch Man or Food Wars. I try to read 2 manga books a day, or alternate stories, I should say. And I want to try to one-shot these books in one day, but sometimes it takes me maybe 2 to 3 days recently just because I got so much going on right now. And usually I read those books right before I go to bed. So kind of the game plan going forward. I do have my next manga review recorded. That'll come out tomorrow. And I'm trying to think of some other things I want to do for this channel. So something that kind of came to mind, I'm going to be starting a new series. And I've always been debating if I want to improv this series or do I want to try to script it out. Currently, I don't. My biggest problem about trying to do scripted content is that it does take time. And it does take a good amount of effort to write up a draft, reread it, proofread it, edit it. And that is part of the creative process when you do this type of things. And that takes time. So I'm trying to figure out what is a good timeline to do that if I want to do scripted content. And I'll go ahead and talk about it. What I want to do is I want to do basically a short story that is a spin-off of What If. So kind of what's inspiring me to do this is I want to create a story about our Monday franchises and make it better. So for example, kind of the first one, it's kind of spoilers into like the first video, but it's just something that I want to try out. So just recently I bought the figurine, the Black Series figure of Rey Skywalker when she's like a Sith. And I kind of want to create a story behind that. So what I want to do is I want to create a new series called Imagine If. And the first one's going to be Imagine If Rey Palpatine, whatever, if you want to call her Rey Palpatine. I'll probably call her Rey Palpatine. What if, Rey turned to the dark side? And it's just going to be a short story into, the rise and fall of Ray Palpatine. So it's just something like that. What if, the Disney trilogy was never bought by, what if Star Wars wasn't, or imagine if Universal Studios bought Star Wars. We can go into this fantasy realm of possibilities when it comes to Star Wars. Or what if, Doctor Who was bought by ABC or Fox or Disney? Just something. It's completely biased, completely imaginative, and it's something that I want to dive more into. And that was another reason why I wanted to go with a high quality mic, because it's going to be story driven, all from my voice. And it allows me to practice my speaking and my script writing, and just it'll help me practice with everything that I want to do on this channel. So I'm not sure when I'm going to start that series. I still have to think about the infrastructure that'll go behind it, how much time I want to put it into it. Because it's going to be brand new, something I've never done before. So I want to try to take my time with it. But I'm definitely excited for that series. So we'll see how it goes. So, all right. So I think the first thing we're going to talk about today, and it's something that I'm passionate about, is space. So one thing I really love where SpaceX and Elon Musk is going. So we kind of have a brand new chapter in our history of spaceflight. So just recently, literally a couple hours ago from this live stream, we've got the landmark 4 civilian space travelers back on Earth after landmark flight. This comes from Space Flight Now, and I do follow them on Twitter. If you're a space geek like I am, definitely they have a Twitter account, they have a website, and just great content when it comes to space. So 4 civilian space travelers rode on a SpaceX capsule through a blazing re-entry back into Earth's atmosphere Saturday evening and safely splashed down in the Atlantic Ocean northeast of Cape Canaveral, completing a historic 71 hours in space as the first privately funded non-government crew to fly in orbit. So that is very, very interesting, because most of these, up until now, most of our space flights have been some sort of government run, government trained, and government employees that we take up there. And now this is opening a brand new door of human spaceflight. We are now sending up civilians into space. And originally, I thought this crew was going to go to the International Space Station, but that's not the case. So Inspiron 4 on their Dragon 2, I think, aircraft, they just did an orbital tour on Earth, or in the I don't know exactly what orbit. I don't know if it's geospatial or not, or geosynchronous orbit, but yeah, they just did an orbit tour up in space. So they didn't go to the space station or anything, and then they just splashed down a couple hours ago my time. And here is their Twitter account. Highly recommend following them. And this is the splashdown footage of Inspiration 4. Make sure I said, yeah, Inspiration 4. I probably forgot to share audio, but yeah, there it is. The capsule has fell into the Atlantic Ocean safely, dawning another new milestone in human spaceflight. That is amazing. And this is something that, we're seeing a brand new space race. Before it was government run space race when the USSR, and then now Russia, and then China, and everyone else going into space. And now we're starting to see the rise of the corporate sector launching humanity into space. And I think this is a good thing, because right now it's very expensive to go into space. And before, we had all these taxpayer money to go into space. And now we're starting to see the rise of these corporations if we have more people like Elon Musk that are passionate about expanding the human race into space, these are the results. And he's doing it cheaper than far none from any other corporation right now, and even the federal government. And what's cool about it right now is that just recently, SpaceX just had another milestone. They had 3 Dragon capsules in space. They had this one that was orbiting, and then they had 2 of them that's currently attached to the International Space Station. Before this launch of Inspiration 4, they actually launched another aircraft from Vandenberg, or another Dragon 2 capsule, their next model of the Dragon series, from Vandenberg Space Force Base. And I actually got to watch that one from my house. It was so inspiring to hear the Falcon 9 launch, and you can hear the rumbling of the engines. And it was such a nice, beautiful sight to see that rocket gliding into the atmosphere and seeing the light from the engines of the fuel being mixed, of the liquid fuel, and just seeing it go into space. And it's very inspiring that we see all of these things happening with the world today, but yet we're still making baby steps to go into space, and it's just a wonderful sight to see. And with the rise of the corporate sector and the rising into space, we start to see competitiveness. So now hopefully we'll have another renaissance era when it comes to technology as well. Seeing these rockets come back down and landing on drone ships, landing on pads, seeing SpaceX developing their next rockets that's going to go into space down in Texas. It is such a beautiful thing to see. And let me see if I can get this view. Yeah, this view right here. This is what it's all about. So on the latest capsule of the Dragoncraft, this is, I think, to my understanding, the biggest window on any aircraft that's launched into space. And this just gives you a perspective of just how small we are. And this is why I always advocate that, we're only one race. We're the human race. And when you see Earth like this, just going from sunrise to sunset, that you can see it here, it's so just, no words can really describe just how beautiful it is. And this is why I've always been passionate about space. I'm not smart enough to understand, the physics behind it. The best I know is Kerbal Space Program, which I need to get back into it because I love Kerbal Space Program. But it's motivating to see, and that comes from SpaceX's direct website, or Twitter feed. There we go, Twitter feed. But just seeing the launch, and then the launch, like I said, I saw was a cargo Dragon X that went to the International Space Station. But it is such an awesome sight to see that we're making these steps. Private spaceflight, it turns out, is a pretty private affair. Until Friday afternoon, the 4 members of the Inspiration 4 crew put almost 0 updates to the general public. No video of them floating SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule. No audio saying hi to the world. Their accounts on Twitter and Instagram busy updated in recent weeks as they prepared for launch. Have been silent since liftoff on Wednesday, but they're up there orbiting the altitude about 360 miles above Earth. The mission is getting chattier. They range the closing bell of the New York Stock Exchange, which was pretty cool, on Friday afternoon, and presented a 10-minute live update on YouTube as they zoomed through the planet at 17,000 miles per hour, which is awesome. So seeing the world every 90 minutes. That's how fast they were traveling. So it takes 90 minutes to orbit the Earth. That's just mind-boggling to understand. The crew members gave a quick tour of the spacecraft and talked about what they have been doing. Sion Proctor, the mission pilot, showed a drawing she had done. Christopher Zembrowski, the mission specialist, played a ukulele. Haley, I'm not even going to try. The medical officer did some flips for low gravity or no gravity. And this was also a fundraiser. So one cool thing that SpaceX did is on their live stream, they did on their YouTube channel, it was actually a fundraising event for St. Jude's. And that's where the name Inspiration 4 came from. It was from the St. Jude's fundraising event. So yeah, the crew had answered questions from cancer patients at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis. St. Jude released a recording of the chat on Twitter. The mission is raising millions of dollars for the hospital, which treats patients at no cost to their families and conducts research on cures for cancer and other diseases. So this whole mission is a step in the right direction where we need to do, where we have to come together to help us explore. And again, this is just another view here. So there's that dome that we were just looking at. And this is when they were live streaming. I mean, that is just, look at that view to get Earth in a dome. This always reminds me of the movie called Rocket Man. You know, got the whole world in your hands, the whole wide world in your hands. It's so inspirational. I love it. Yeah, this is quite a feat for the human race, and I really wish that this was covered more. Truly inspiring. So yeah, that is the continued chapter that we keep writing in our quest of humanity into space. So I think the next event is going to be the first booster launch of the shuttle that SpaceX has created, or Starship. There we go, Starship, down in Texas. And I cannot wait to see that. I am super excited. I can't wait for that one day that we step on Mars. I mean, I feel like it's getting closer and closer, and who knows, it could be in our lifetime. I hope it is. I hope I'm alive when we reach Mars and put our first human in on another planet. That's going to be quite a milestone. That's going to be quite a milestone. Okay. Let us talk about our next topic. So that, go from, I wanted to start this conversation or this podcast on a good note, and seeing what's going on with SpaceX right now, it's definitely something I'm going to be talking a lot more of in the future, because it's just something I'm really passionate about when it comes to space. So now talking about something completely depressing. So this comes from Bounding Into Comics. William Shatner changes his mind. Now open to Captain Kirk appearing in the next Star Trek film. Nothing is sacred anymore. I mean, this is the final nail in the coffin when it comes to Star Trek. I am really surprised that William Shatner changed his mind, because there's been a lot of tweets that he's been posting that suggested that he was going to safeguard William Shatner, or Captain Kirk, from all the reboots that's been happening in this so-called Kelvin timeline, or JJ Trek, or Kurtzman Trek, whatever you want to call it. But now looks like that's going to be no longer the case. So William Shatner believes it's time for Captain Kirk to go where no veteran Starfleet officer has gone before, and finally make his debut in Star Trek cinema's Kelvin timeline. Oh my goodness. Kirk fans, they're coming after you next. This is insane. Shatner voices support for the Prime Kirk's return to Star Trek during a recent interview with USA Today, given a promotion of Star Trek Day, a de facto celebration of the franchise held on the anniversary of the original series television premiere, noting that the recently announced fourth movie in the J.J. Abrams created cinematic continuity currently has no cast details. USA Today reporter Brian Alexander asked Shatner, "Is Prime Kirk making his first appearance in the new movie timeline?" "It's time," to which the actor replied, "I agree with you. I am curious." So here's the thing. Money talks, right? They must have paid him one hell of a check. I'm thinking 7 figures at a minimum for him to come back, for him to change his mind and to come back as William Shatner or as Captain Kirk, which is unfortunate because we saw the deconstruction of Captain Picard in season 1, and then that trailer for season 2. Oh my God, it's gonna deconstruct him even more, and now we're going to have Shatner coming back for Captain Kirk. I mean, it's just nothing is sacred anymore when it comes to these franchises. And it says, like, I go from, this is really the polar opposite, which is insane. Star Trek back in the day, we were inspired by that show to push us to get into that technology, to push the realm of imagination to reality. And SpaceX is doing that right now. But yet we look at Star Trek, and it's like it's gone so reverse direction when it comes to inspiration for the future. Instead of Star Trek leading the way into the future, it's SpaceX. We're living in it now, which is insane that everything has flipped on its head when it comes to this. I remember when I was a little child watching Star Trek The Next Generation reruns and Voyager and Deep Space Nine. I'd always imagine, can we get there? Can we get the technology that they have? Can we potentially have teleporters that deconstruct and reconstruct matter? Can we have this antimatter technology to go into warp drive faster than the speed of light? Can we travel to these different planets? And it used to be Star Trek that was leading that imaginative thoughts when it comes to the future. And now it's SpaceX. Now it's SpaceX and all these other space companies, even Amazon. Amazon's getting into it. Well, I'm not saying Amazon directly, but the founder of Amazon. What was it, the Blue Origins or something like that? He's funding to get into space. Who would have thought? Yeah, so this is kind of him rebuttaling to some of the posts and the concerns. So here's William Shatner saying, "What was any different about my statement on Kirk that I haven't said before? I don't do cameos. That one stretches back to 2008. Kirk's story is well told. Of any of the captains, Kirk died in generations, was where he left eventually." So this is the contradiction. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like they must have gave him a fat check to do this, to go back, because this was said back in 2020, March 2nd, 2020, and now he comes out saying that, okay, yeah, now I'm gonna go ahead and do another video, a complete 180. Yeah, you're going to sell out Captain Kirk. While the upcoming fourth Star Trek film may have yet solidify any members of its cast, it was previously announced the project would be directed Matt Shakman of WandaVision and written by Lindsay Beer. I don't know. I haven't heard of this. And Geneva Robertson from Tomb Raider, Captain Marvel. Holy crap. Oh my goodness. So the director from WandaVision is going to do Kirk. And it's going to be written by a person I'm not familiar with, Lindsay Beer. Lindsay, what has she done besides this Sierra Burgess is a loser, which I haven't even heard. Let's go to IMDb, shall we? Let's investigate this a little bit more. What has she done? Okay. So here's the IMDb of this writer, Lindsay Beer. Okay, so known for, so here a writer for Empress, Mask, Mobile Armored Strike Command, Short Circuit, Silver Sable, Visionaries, Untitled Star Trek sequel, which is the one probably they're working on, The Magic Order, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay. Oh boy. Nothing else Star Trek related. Great. That's just great. So we have another writer who probably doesn't know the lore writing a Star Trek film. Huh. Yikes. Okay, and let's take a look at, because one thing I've been noticing that's kind of woken my eyes is that, great, Kirk is going to be in it. But again, they're just reading from a script. Really, the story, the plot, the interaction of the characters that we loved. One thing that I have learned is that we need to start paying more attention to the writers. And I definitely have to thank a lot of YouTubers that have opened my eyes towards that. So let's take a look at this other writer as well. I'm not familiar with this person at all. Okay, so let's bring up this person. So Geneva Robertson DeWart. All right, let's see what she is known for. So here's some writers here. Artemis, Gotham City Sirens. Oh, hey, look, another Mask. Mobile Armored Strike Command. Marin, Silver Sable, Visionaries, Knights of the Magical Light. Again, another sequel. Oh, Captain Marvel. Wah, wah, wah. She was a writer for Captain Marvel. Great. So, yeah. And then also for Tomb Raider. Was this the... Okay, this was the reboot one, which is trash. Great. That's just great. 6.3 out of 10. Popularity, yeah. Great. So now, so we've got these two writers who barely have anything to their resume, and one from Captain Marvel going to do a legendary Star Trek with William Shatner, and they're going to ruin it. They're going to ruin it. Star Trek is, I have no interest in it. I don't want to black pill it, but it's like when I have SpaceX to be my inspiration when it comes to the future of space travel, you know, who needs fantasy when reality is starting to catch up with fantasy? That is an interesting point. That reality is starting to catch up to fantasy. Interesting. Yep. Rest in peace, Star Trek. As I said before, our future entertainment's in the past. That's why my Star Trek that I choose to accept is the Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine. Those are my shows. Orville, man, is awesome. That's actually a show I would highly recommend. I watched the first 2 seasons, and the 3rd season is going to be coming out here soon. It is just a modern day Star Trek that hopefully we can inspire towards. And of course, you can't have Star Trek without the other Star Wars. All right. So Lucasfilm has just announced a brand new game. Welcome to the arena. Watch the cinematic trailer to see 2 teams face off as we introduce to our hunters for the first time. Gee, this sounds like a copycat of all the other 2 teams that face off. Paladins, Overwatch. What else? Maybe Fortnite we can throw in there. I mean, it's just, I feel like this is, you know, you have that party. You have the pre-party where everyone just talks, has a great time, socializes. Then you have the main events. The DJ's going strong. Everyone's hipping and hopping. And then the party starts to wind down. And then you got that one person that comes in late to the game and tries to re-energize the crowd. It's like, you're so late to the party, dude. That's what this freaking game is. It's that latecomer. And of course, we've got the SJW haircut, which I just don't care for. I mean, it's got the same graphic appeal as Fortnite. It's got that cartoony anime look. I just don't know. It's going to be another one of those arena style games. I don't know if it's free to play or not. We'll see. Cool. So you can it's basically a skinned Paladins Overwatch Star Wars edition. Could be interesting. But here's the one thing that caught my eye. And it's like, and this is why I'm really concerned about this game. So I want to max this out. So look at the platforms this is available for. Okay, Switch. Sweet. I'm assuming it'll be PC, but this is my biggest red flag. When I see the App Store, when I see the Google Play Store, that triggers me like no one's business, because that tells me that this is going to be optimized for mobile phones. And the Switch, and if we get a PC version, are going to be ports. It's going to be a mobile game that's ported to console, PC, whatever. Anytime you have these two logos down here, it's got to be catered and it's got to be formatted and programmed. I know I'm not an expert when it comes to this stuff, but it has to be built for the phones and then ported over. Star Wars. What is going on? I mean, now we're not even trying. It's a cash grab. Yeah. Star Wars Hunters. I don't care for it. And that's like, I miss the days of the true LucasArts films, games, LucasArts. I miss the days of Star Wars Galaxies, Star Wars Galactical Battlegrounds, real-time strategies, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, Shadows of the Empire. I miss those days that we had a nice diverse range of Star Wars games, from real-time strategies to third-person shooters to first-person shooters, of Battlefront. Good old Battlefront. LucasArts back in the day was probably one of the most diverse developers for a single franchise. We had so many good games. What's the other RTS that Star Wars came out with? Oh goodness, I am forgetting the name. That you could do Galactical Conquests. I need to look this up because now it's going to bug me like no other. Oh, Empire at War. Empire at War was so freaking good. The ground combat, yeah, debatable, but the space combat when it comes to RTSs was top notch. And then they came out with Forces of Corruption, and then they brought in the Superstar Destroyer Eclipse. Tyber Zahn was going after it and was able to control it at the end of Forces of Corruption. That was some top nerd shit for me. I loved it. That was really the Renaissance time for LucasArts. I played so much of Empire at War, and then when Forces of Corruption came out, and I was able to command the Eclipse Star Destroyer. And it also broke my heart that when Colin Trevorrow, or I can't remember the director's name, but when the leaked script of episode 9 came out for Disney, and reading the plot of it, reading the story behind it, looking at the concept arts, we were going to get the Eclipse Star Destroyer in canon, in film. We were going to be able to see it in film. But yet, Kathleen Kennedy said no. Kathleen Kennedy ended up. I don't know if she fired. Okay, now let's see who was going to be the original episode 9 Star Wars. Oh yeah, Colin Trevorrow. I am definitely mispronounced that, and I apologize. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's take a look at that. So the full original Star Wars Episode 9 script was supposedly leaked, and it was supposed to be called The Duel of Fates, which I love that name. Rise of Skywalker is a shitty name, to say the least. I'm going to see if we can find the concept art. Yeah, I don't see it here. Oh, yeah, here we go. To Twitter we go. So yeah, just look at some of this concept art for Duel of Fates, what we could have had. Man, we were going to go back to Coruscant. We were going to see the galactic state of affairs. I mean, just look at this concept. This is what the result of Coruscant was when the First Order was in effect. It kills me what Star Wars could have been. Yeah, and the famous Rey scene for the final battle of Coruscant. I mean, just look at this. We were going to get new walkers in episode 9. I mean, yeah, we got into Rise of Skywalker. And yeah, I was fangirling over walkers because I'm a big fan of walkers. And look at these concept designs. I'm just a sucker for a good walker. What Star Wars could have been. What Star Wars could have been. This was going to be the concept of taking back Coruscant from the First Order. But no, we've got Rey Palpatine. We got Rey Palpatine. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, sorry, I had to deal with a cat that was misbehaving. But yeah, that's what Star Wars could have been. And again, this is probably one of those things that I want to do a imagine if. Imagine if the Duel of Fates happened. And I love this. I love the idea of Rey having a double-bladed lightsaber. Because we never got that in film. We've got that in Expanded Universe. We got that from all the MMOs. I think that just would have been so cool to see. A double-bladed. I mean, oh, look at this. And this is when they were raiding the Eclipse Star Destroyer. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. Rest in peace. What Star Wars could have been. The what ifs, the imagine if. The imagine if. Yep, so that's it's unfortunate. All right, so let's let me find one more thing. So I do want to do a shout out. Go watch the Orville. Orville's great. It took some time to really grow upon me, but you know, this is the best we got. It's a great show. 8 out of 10 stars. Popularity, really good. And I think season 3 is going to start soon. I think it's going to be on Hulu. Unlike this trash, I don't even want to see Star Trek Picard. Fuck that. But yeah, it had some growing pains, but it's really, really good. All right, guys. That is basically everything that I wanted to talk about. If you guys are going to be watching this on a video form later down the road, thank you so much for watching the video. I do this once a week. Try to have a set show for you guys so you guys know when to find me. But that is all I got to say for this episode of Derailed Conversations. Thank you guys so much. You can find all my content at rayronvr.com. And with that, guys, I'll see you next week.